Set. Launch Scouter.
Wait a minute.
Continuing from the previous episode,
I, Mr. Crichton, am the one who says launch Scouter.
everyone still hates Rimmer.
Launch Scouter.
Can't imagine why.
Would you be so good as to launch the Scouter, please, sir?
Aye, aye, sir. Scouter launch, sir.
Face it, they're all assholes to varying degrees, and they pretty much deserve what's coming. Anyway, it turns out that they've encountered a scientific research center, and there's a survivor, who happens to be a hologram.
A Dr. Hildegard Lanstrom.
So they're using the term survivor kind of loosely. Anyway, she's a doctor, and they want to bring her on board. And of course, Holly can only support one hologram, so Rimmer has to be temporarily turned off. And yes, I know that there was one time when there were two holograms on board at the same time, but it was only for a few minutes, so I'd imagine that Holly can support two for a very short time, since it's a power issue.
And now I'm being bundled into an escape pod and relieved of my duties by Commander Ubend.
You know, Rimmer is being an asshole as usual, but I can kinda see his point. They're literally kicking him off the ship in favor of another hologram. And yes, she's a scientist, it can probably help them out a lot, so I can see why they're doing it, but it's no secret that they all hate Rimmer, and frankly, they didn't spend a whole lot of time debating this. Not to mention that they didn't even ask Rimmer if he was okay with it. They just kind of announced that he's being kicked off the ship. And Lister is all like, gee, why are you taking this so personally? So Crichton is about to quote a Space Corps directive that relates to this situation.
Holly, prepare an escape pod. Anything to save me from another Space Corps directive. He's making it up, isn't he? The bloody book doesn't exist.
Holly, kindly furnish Mr. Rimmer with a hologrammatic copy of the Space Corps Directive Manual.
In a couple of episodes, this is going to set off another great running gag.
You've become a really nasty piece of work.
Sir, I was merely...
You're merely a mechanoid. That's all you're merely. Don't ever forget it.
Ouch. Speaking of running gags, there's one we haven't heard in a while. So the rest of the crew goes looking for Dr. Lanstrom, and it turns out that they're in a viral research area where hazmat suits are to be worn at all times.
If there were any dangerous viral strains in the atmosphere, the psi scan would have picked them up by now.
Ah, the psi scan. This show's favorite Deus Ex Machina for a while.
The old 345 takes a little time to warm up. Now here are the results. And we're going to... live.
Afterwards, Crichton comes across some vials that he takes. Boy, are those ever gonna come in handy later. Anyway, they find a stasis pod containing Dr. Lanstrom and...
Life without pain has no meaning. Gentlemen, I wish to give your lives meaning.
It turns out that this whole thing was a big mistake because she has a deadly holo-virus. Meanwhile, Rimmer has been procrastinating leaving Starbug, and Lister tries to contact him.
Listy? We need backup, man. We need it bad. We need it now.
Everything okay?
Rimmer is great in this scene. He's such a smug bastard.
I am quite mad.
Are you really? How absolutely splendid.
Back in the research station, Crichton explains what's afflicted Dr. Lanstrom.
It appears to stimulate the dormant psychic areas of the brain, which, until now, humankind has been unable to harness. Unfortunately, it requires so much energy, it drains the victim's life force.
She's actually kind of creepy.
Twinkle, twinkle, little eye, now it's time for you to die.
Destroyed by her own genius. If I'm right, the fruits of her work should live on.
Back on Starbug, Crichton is examining the vials, and he explains that there are positive viruses.
A strain of virus which promotes an unaccountable feeling of well-being and happiness. According to her notes, 20th century DJs suffered from it all the time.
Specifically, a sexual magnetism virus.
Sexual magnetism's a virus? Well, get me to a hospital. I'm a terminal case.
And a luck virus.
Lady Luck in liquid form.
He demonstrates the latter by injecting Lister with a small amount of it and having him shuffle cards, and he ends up picking all aces. Anyway, afterwards they find out that Rimmer has sealed the cargo bay doors.
If you'd like to proceed to the aft, you'll find the landing lights on in Bay 47.
Bay 47? That's quarantine.
Spot on.
Apparently following a Space Corps directive.
I have no intention of contracting the hologrammatic equivalent of foaming dog fever.
Too late.
152, where you'll be spending the next 3 months.
Also, Rimmer gets all the best face awards for this episode. Actually, he gets all of the awards. So because Lister is the only registered crew member of Red Dwarf, the three of them have to share a room. For about 12 weeks. That's gonna go well.
Welcome to quarantine, lads.
Anyway, Rimmer shows up from behind glass to gloat. Of course, it'd be against the rules, not to mention unethical, to lock them up in a room with no entertainment.
A knitting magazine with a pull-out special on crocheted hats, and a video wallpapering, painting, and stippling a DIY guide.
Also, their meals contain Lister's least favorite food.
Rimmer, you know damn well sprouts make me choke.
I've got you down for sprouts almost every meal. I tell a lie. It is every meal.
And there will be music.
Must Dasheroony, I've got to organise your daily provision of musical entertainment. It's a perpetually looped tape of Reggie Dixon's Tango Treats.
Fun fact, Canada's doing something similar. If you get arrested for drunk driving, they make you listen to Nickelback on the way to the police station. Unfortunately, it was a joke, though.
Listen, guys.
So Lister is determined to make it through and gets everyone to agree that they're going to get along, if only to spite Rimmer.
Boys from the dwarf.
Cut to 5 days later, and Lister has a black eye, Cat has a bandage over his nose and his arm in a fashionable sling, and Crichton has just finished banging the dents out of his head.
2 damn hours.
Also, Lister has done a lot of crocheting.
Tetchy, tetchy, tetchy.
Just as well I can't hear you.
Anyway, naturally, everyone's bad habits are driving everyone else crazy.
It won't be the waste disposal, Frankenstein. This time I'm gonna unscrew your neck bolts and microwave your head.
Frankenstein was the creator, not the monster. It's a common misconception held by all truly stupid people.
Welcome to 50% of the comments section of a video where I casually called the monster Frankenstein once. Never again. Anyway, things get pretty heated, but Lister manages to mostly calm things down.
We're gonna get through this.
And don't say we're gonna get through this!
Then Crichton remembers that they haven't shown any signs of contracting a virus in 5 days, which means that they can demand a rescreening, per the Space Corps directive.
And he's playing it by the book. We've nailed him.
Gentlemen.
But it turns out that Rimmer has been listening without making himself known.
And no one's smegging nuts.
Well, that's good. I'm sitting here wearing a red and white checked gingham dress. And army boots. Think that's unamiss?
Well, now that you mention the army boots, yeah, there is something a little off here. So yeah, the rest of them are clean, but Rimmer had somehow contracted the holo-virus from Dr. Lanstrom. It's revealed a bit later that it was through radio waves. Honestly, I don't know what I could add to this scene, so I'm just gonna let Rimmer speak for himself.
I can't let you out, because the king of the potato people won't let me. He wants to keep you here.
Could we see him?
Do you have a magic carpet?
Yeah.
You want to fly on a magic carpet to see the king of the potato people, and you're telling me you're completely sane?
So Rimmer cuts off their oxygen supply for the next 2 hours.
That'll teach you to be bread baskets.
They have 7 minutes before their room runs out of air. Then they remember the luck virus.
Unless...
Of course!
The luck virus!
In the 5 days they were in there, they really never thought to use that before? Oh well. Crichton uses it on Lister again, and he's able to guess the numeric code on the door. Unfortunately, they don't get very far before Rimmer catches up with them. And he's brought a friend.
They've been naughty boys, haven't they, Mr. Flibble? Yes.
So Rimmer is entering the advanced stages of the disease and is now able to use telekinesis. That's a really random ability for a hologram. I mean, he can't touch things with his body, but he can now move things with his mind? Oh well, rule of funny. Anyway, Crichton takes an axe to the back, and it takes a minute for him to recover.
That's better. Maybe now I can win self-determination for these South Moldavian people! I think I'm okay now.
Just in time for Rimmer to show up again. I love how both of them are quivering with rage.
What are we going to do with them, Mr. Flibble? We can't possibly do that. Who'd clear up the mess?
So Lister still has the luck virus, so they manage to get everything that Crichton needs to build something. Talk about Deus Ex Machina.
Mr. Flibble says, "Game over, boys."
Somehow Mr. Flibble also having the Hex vision makes it extra funny. Anyway, Crichton uses the device on Rimmer, and again, I love how the puppet is reacting to it too. So now Rimmer is the one in quarantine. Sorry, but I don't believe for a second that they got Cat to wear that outfit. Rule of funny can only stretch so far. And so ends quarantine. This is an episode that doesn't even really try to have any layers or weight to it. It can basically be summed up as Rimmer's an asshole, everyone else is an asshole back, Rimmer goes nuts and literally tries to kill them, and then they get back at him. The end. The episode is just completely unapologetic about what an asshole everyone is. It's just flat out mean-spirited. But I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't funny as hell. There's a reason why this one is a fan favorite. Rimmer tries to kill everyone in a gingham dress with his puppet friend. What else do you really need? I feel like the rest of them are kind of unnecessarily mean at the end, and that makes me cringe a little. Since none of what happened is really Rimmer's fault, not only did he have a virus that made him insane, but it's their fault that he got it in the first place. But like I said, this episode is mean-spirited and unapologetic about it already, so I guess it all kind of fits together? Nah, it is what it is. Next up is Demons and Angels. See you then.
Anyone nice? Why did we never meet anyone who can shoot straight?